But the trauma probably added to like the depth of the character. Like if we're considering ourselves characters, right?
We are.
It's like the trauma adds to the depth of the character. Like how boring would I be with no trauma?
All of the experiences that you acquire in life add to the colors. Like in acting, we call it colors, and painting and like playing is what we call it. And all of your experiences add to who you are. It's like people literally are their experiences, which is why every adult you see walking around they are literally their innermost child. They are their childhood in fully adult form. And I think all of your experiences add to make up who you are. So I'm not going to say that. I believe that everyone's stories, for the most part, are written. I think the life that you're going to live, I think you have several different lives. And I honestly think that in parallel universes, you're experiencing all of the possible paths that you can go. But I think that...
all at once?
All at once.
Okay.
Like I think right now there's probably a version of us that's talking about something completely different. I think there's a version of us that is like the set is completely flipped. The colors are different, super funky, maybe even in a different time. Like just, yes, all at once. Okay. I think our stories are pretty much written for us. And I think obviously you have options that can kind of alter the trajectory, but for the most part, what's going to happen is going to happen. I don't think that... I think had I not experienced some of the traumatic events that I experienced, I would have experienced something similar or some kind of trauma at a different point in my life that still would have had me end up where you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's like the stones may have been placed in different spots, but I still would have ended up being the woman and the version of myself and gaining the awareness and the understanding about life and the relationships around me and myself, regardless of if that would have happened then. Because something would have happened in my life to offset, the lack of trauma at that point.
Okay, well then it's like, okay, tangent, right? But like Butterfly Effect, you've seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like they end up being completely different people. Like, what Ashton Kutcher, he's super nice, he has his girlfriend or whatever, and in the one reality where he blows his legs up, he's a fucking grouch. He's a terrible person, he's awful, and he's a paraplegic.
But in my theory, the theory that oftentimes dictates my thoughts or kind of helps guide my thought is that regardless of what happens, like everything is going to happen how it should happen. And, even if something were to happen to like circumvent that thing at that point in time,
something else
it's like the Grim Reaper, right?
You can't avoid death.
Not forever.
Yeah.
You may have instances, right, where you may get lucky. Like fucking Final Destination. Like, bitch, we're coming for you. You avoided me today, but bitch, on Friday, and if you avoid me on Friday, Saturday, I promise I got you. Like, it's gonna, I think that everything that's supposed to happen is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's like my way of maybe that's my way of coping. Like, oh, this had to happen to me because
girl, I know we in jail right now, but you was gonna end up in jail regardless. Whether it was murder or something else, you was gonna end up in jail.
It's like,
I don't know. Maybe you could have made some decisions to not end up in jail, but like we're here now, so
I don't know.
That's how you rationalize. Like,
I don't know, but I do think I can say to you, at least tracing back my steps of like what I do think that like the life that I've lived and experienced definitely pushed me into like wanting to be a part of other worlds, and that pushed me into like, the process of acting. And like, I wonder, but what made you drawn to acting?
Probably the same thing, like wanting to be in other worlds. We just had that revelation earlier, and I told you that story, and I think that, I don't know, because I was always shy. I was never shy. Like, I'm not shy in the world, right?
Stage fright.
I get stage fright a lot.
Yeah, same.
But I would always want to put on shows, like even as a kid. Like, I always be like, James, you want to make up a dance? And like, we would like put on little shows for my parents and like dress up and do makeup and do hair and everything. And so like, I always wanted to perform, but I would be like frightened of performing. And then when I got older, that was when I was younger. When I got older, I think like theater came because it was just, I don't know, I just signed up for it and was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But like my entire freshman year, girl, I didn't do anything. No shows, no auditions. I was fucking nervous. Like I'm not gonna audition. I'll just be going to class. Like I would just go to theater class and do stuff in theater class. And then I was like, she's like, oh, audition. I'm like, I'm gonna just do hair. Like I'll be crew. Like I want to sign up for crew and I'll do hair. So I did like hair and makeup. And then it was like, and then I would be like, oh, like maybe you could. And I think like my sophomore year, I was like, okay, I'll audition for some stuff. And like everything I auditioned for, like I ended up getting.
Period.
And so it was like, okay, like you like this. But then I think, like you said, it was cool to see how you could like be immersed in other worlds. But I think like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I would. I think I always did that. Just like never knew that's what I was doing. Like girl, I'd be talking to my little. I was gonna say, did you have an imaginary friend or like
Yes.
friends?
I had an imaginary
like
friend
spirits?
named Eddie. He wore a striped shirt. He had red hair. It was curly. He had like mouth gear,
Yeah,
like braces, but like full on mouth gear.
like me.
He was freckly. I don't know where.
It was my cousin.
I don't know where. I don't know if like. I don't know where he came from. Like I don't know how that image, like a little white boy with red hair and fucking freckles and like brace face. Like where? What an imagination. I don't know.
There's a character like that in a movie.
I think it's probably an amalgamation of a lot of
characters.
Like the one person I'm thinking of is like Dexter. One person I'm thinking of is Ed from Ed, and Eddie.
You know, but there's a the movie. Oh, Coraline. That like the dude from Coraline, but then also too the guy from Monster House. It's
But
like
also,
all those characters. I've seen all of them together.
Dang, there was somebody else that I was thinking of, but I'm sure that it's like just the mixture, a mush of
a bunch of like
but yeah,
childhood
I
memories.
did Eddie, but I talked to myself but it's like, what do you, like I had a very active imagination. I told you, I used to,
super active.
I used to teach classrooms full of
girl,
kids
I'm
in my
telling
head.
you, like, when I would be like, yeah, like talking about the, like Frankie and stuff, mom would be like, all right. But I told you as a kid, I was like in elementary school, like kindergarten, and I'm telling, you know, like what you did this summer. And so, you know, my teacher gonna call my mom and was like, we need to have a parent teacher conference because like we need to get her tested because like she has this super over, she keeps saying she's been all these places and like seen all these people. And like, you know, I was like in
Tested for
kindergarten,
what?
like ADHD, like ADD or something. Like, oh, she's
For using my brain?
for using my fucking brain. But my mom was like, no, these are like this is her life. Like she's done all these things. Like, you know, she was gone or whatever. But saying all that to say, I think that by the time like I got on stage, I realized, or it was more like writing. I would write like stories. And so I would never want to act in the stories. I would just write the stories. And then by the time I got on stage, it was like, oh, I can like star in these stories. Like I'm writing these stories, but like I can actually like star in these stories and like, you know, whatever. So I would like write little monologues and stuff and, you know, like want to perform little monologues and like do like a little competition pieces and stuff like that. It was just fun. Like I loved it. Like I don't know. I felt like it was going to be my life for a little bit. And then it just, I don't know. It's crazy. My mom was so supportive, but she would not support that.
Yeah, you're gonna go get a job.
Girl, she was not playing. She was like, you're going to go to get a job, bitch. Here I am.
I wonder sometimes what it would have looked like if my parents did support that, because when we were younger, we really, really, really wanted to model. Like we would go to like Barbizon casting calls, bitch, like scammers. Scam.
If you got scammed as a kid with Barbizon or Next or whatever, all of them, comment down below.
You may be entitled to compensation.
Right, to compensate. Not from us, but somebody.
But I remember one time at a casting call, one of the young ladies was like, would you consider acting? And my sister was like, no. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, that's important. Do you know why? And I was like, well, because models will have to act like in commercials and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I really thought about acting. And then my ex's mom, she did some acting in Atlanta. She had like an agent here, and she was really like, you should do that. Like you should think about it. And then when I moved out, that was like the first thing that I did when I was 17. I moved out, I had my own place. And like I looked for an acting studio and I signed up and then had started taking classes. And yeah, from there I was like, oh wow, like I want this to be my life. And I remember at that time too, it was the end of high school. I think when I started taking acting classes, my senior year of high school, I went to college. And I think at that time, it was either then or like right after I graduated that I signed up for acting class. And I remember just thinking, like, I don't know what I want to do in college. Like, nothing seems like something that I can see myself doing every single day for the rest of my life. And I was so confused, and I was so frustrated with the school system because I was like, you guys should have set up middle school like high school and high school like college, because we should have been started talking about what I wanted to do, because now all of a sudden you want me to think like, I don't know. And then I remember starting acting classes and I was like, oh,
I kind of fuck with this.
like I could do this for the rest of my life. And I remember not wanting to be on camera, not because I was shy, but because I knew from the very first acting class that I took, one, I had raw talent. Two, a lot of actors, you either have raw talent or you don't have raw talent and you're skilled, which means you're training and taking classes, or both. You start off with raw talent and then you hone your skills and you become skilled. And I remember, like I said, from the very first class, one, I had raw talent, and two, I knew that this was probably going to be the only thing that I could like have fun doing. But I also knew that by the time people knew me for this thing, I wanted to be amazing. And so I trained and trained and trained for years, like probably 2 years before I even like tried to get an audition or even started looking for an agent. And I think it helped because there wasn't like that desperation of like, oh, I want to get famous, or oh, this. Like there was like a desperation for, oh, I want to be good.
I want to be good. I don't want to just be out here.
I've always said, I don't think I want to be this like uber. I don't want to be like a Denzel Washington or a Viola Davis. I want to be like a what's her name from? I want to be like a Tessa Thompson.
I knew you were gonna say her.
I want to be like a Tessa Thompson. Every mother effing time you see that girl on your screen, you're like, I may not remember her name, but that bitch is fire. Every time I see her, she's fire. I believe her in whatever she does. I feel immersed in whatever she's in. Like I want to be like that, where I can probably still go out and like live everyday life. But also you just know whenever you see me, you're good. And like the industry knows enough about me to where like if there's something that they have or whatever, like, I'm getting calls and stuff like that.